Genesis chapter 3. And then Matthew chapter 26. And in Genesis, we're going to start at the very first verse. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For God doth not know that in the days ye eat thereof, ye shall see, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And then the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord and God, from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee, and that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And I hope she don't get mad at me. But Apostle Kelly, would one of you start reading Apostles? Would one of you start reading at verse 14 in Matthew chapter 26?
Verse 14?
Yep, down to the 29th verse, please.
Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, What will ye give me that I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. Now the first day of the feast, unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat and eat the Passover? And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and he said unto him, Master, and saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and he made ready the Passover. Verse 20. Now, when the even was come, he sat down with the 12, And they did eat, and said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. Then they were exceedingly sorrowful, and began every one of them that saith unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish shall betray me. And the Son of Man goeth and the Son of Man goeth as it is written in him. But woe unto them that by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It has been good for them that he had not been born. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? And he said unto him, Thou hast said. Verse 26. As they did, they were eating, and Jesus took the bread and blessed it, and he brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is of my body. Then he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, and saying, Drink ye also of it. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of the fruit of the vine until that day whom drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
May the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. And when I was looking at this, and I began reading it over and over and over, and I said, God, I don't, but you know to listen and keep moving, and eventually it'll all come together. So hopefully it'll all come together. But if I were to use one subject this morning, it would be take and eat. And for subtopic, reset. Now we're gonna go back to Genesis, and when I was reading Genesis, the first little thing that stuck out to me was it said that the snake was more subtle than any other beast in the garden.
All right.
I said, okay, if the snake was subtle, that means he was crafty, and he was one easy to get into things, and he likes to pull tricks and do things when you least expect it.
All right.
So I said, in other words, I said, okay, God, so you're telling me that the trickster tricked the trick, if that makes sense to you. I said, okay. So I went on and I began to read. And I said, okay, God, what are you saying? How many times has God ever given you direction and you didn't follow?
Wow.
You know, I can handle it. I got it.
Wow, that's so true.
I can do it. But when God tells you to do something, he expects you to do it. Now, the serpent was saying what he was saying to Eve, and we all know this story, and I'm going to try to make it quick. And so he looked at her and he said, I'm just paraphrasing, these are my words. He's looking at the, you know what I mean? He's right here. He's looking at Eve, and he's probably brushing up against me. Come on.
Mix it up.
Take it. Eat it. You won't die. He loves you too much.
Wow.
Come on now.
Wow.
Come on. Look at it. Eat it. Touch it.
Mm.
Come on. In my mind, I bet you even said, I dare you.
Mm.
Come on. Do it. Won't nothing happen. Do it. I many times have you been in the same situation?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when God tells you something, and you know better in your mind, you know better, but you just have to touch it. You just have to stir that pot to see if it's gonna stay.
Oh,
You
wow.
go right ahead and do it anyway. Eve knew what she was doing.
She knew.
She knew. He even was bad enough to say, "You'll be a god if you do it."
Wow.
That right there should have been the first red flag. You were created in his image, but you did it anyway.
Wow.
You didn't have to want to look like a God, or you didn't have to let somebody think you were God. You were created in his image. So what? What were you thinking? I'm going to go on down a little further. The Bible says she saw. Now, before she even ate the fruit, she saw. Okay, what did she see? She had done got so consumed in those few little words that he said, she became lustful and didn't even realize it. Her nature was beginning to change, and she didn't even realize it. Her nature was changing. Okay, Marsh, why do you say her nature was changing? Because the word said it was pleasant to her eyes, and the tree looked as to be desired. If you are desiring and you are looking at something that you have no business looking at, then you are lusting. So she was already letting it come in and not even realizing that the enemy was taking her mind. And you sitting here when flags was going everywhere and you just doing what you do. So how many times do you go and you have stuff come before you and you do what you do and you know better? I ain't gonna do that because I know better than that. Next thing you know, you're doing it, but you knew better. Now, the Bible tells us that they ate and their eyes were opened. And so, another thing that after their eyes were opened, they didn't realize that in just that quick manner, they had done lost the best of what they were.
All right.
It was gone. The best of who they were. They had done lost their identity. And what you gonna do when you lose your identity? Even though it is easy to lose, and don't get me wrong, because I am guilty. I have let things get in the way, and in the process of those things getting in the way, because you allowed it, you lose who you are. And then you have to go all the way back through the process again of learning who you are. Who are you? So they done took of the fruit and they done ate it. And here comes God. They knew it was coming. So they done took the whip and found some stuff, realized they were naked, and done realized what they done did and done let all this stuff happen. So they done went and picked them up some leaves and sewed them together and trying to hide. Okay, they hiding. Okay, God starts calling for them. He's calling their name. How many times as he called your name. Raymond, Jenny, Chris, Marsha. He's calling, and you know it's the voice of God. And you act just like you don't hear it.
Good.
Now, the first time you hear it, your first reaction is to look around. You look and you say, who's calling me? And you're looking, who's calling? But you just said, you sure? No, that wasn't God calling me. That was just somebody that was calling my name, and they just got gone before I could even recognize who they was. No, it wasn't. But Adam, then God finds him hiding behind the leaves, hiding behind the trees. And he's, did you not hear me calling me? I heard you, God, but I was hiding, and I was afraid. Were you afraid before? Okay, not only did his sight change, his hearing changed. Because you heard him all those times before, but you weren't afraid. But now he's calling because he wants to spend time with his beloved, and all of a sudden, you're afraid. You're afraid. So when God's voice didn't change, because he is the same yesterday, today, forevermore, he's not going to change. So his hearing even changed. And so now here you are, and you're hiding. And God asked himself, well, who told you you were naked? Because you didn't know what you were before. Who told you that? And that's what he asked. Did you know that you were naked? Because you didn't know before, but like I said, this is my mind reading into this now. Why were you afraid of me? You ain't got no reason to be afraid. Why are you hiding from me? There's no reason for you to hide. Man, I love you. I created you like me. Why would you want to be afraid of me? You're a father. I give you everything you need. So why would you be afraid of me? So they sit here and they start playing the blame game. Well, she told me to eat it, so I ate it. Well, he didn't have to eat it.
True.
Well, Lord, I'm going to just be honest with you because, I seen it and the serpent, he deceived me, but I'm just going to tell you, I did it. We do the exact same thing. He calls us. All he wants is just a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
Whether it be 5 minutes,
Wow.
whether it be 50 minutes. That's all he's calling, because he wants you to come to him, to bask in his presence, to love on him, to get to know him, and your intimacy will be deeper with him. But you find yourself in a situation to where you're lost again. And my daughter, she said, Mom, why am I gonna have to keep doing this? This thing done stuck me, I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times this thing done stuck me. But sometimes I'm a visual learner. You have to put it in front of me in order for me to be able to get it. So I'm sorry, you just have to bear with me for a couple seconds.
Go ahead, take your time.
So with all the things that you don't have to put it just go over here and hold it up. She gonna take the stitch, y'all. That lets you know she loves me. But with everything that goes on, and we find ourselves getting in trouble, and God is calling us, and He is calling us. He is really calling us.
Yes, he is.
But yeah, exactly, more now than ever before. But one of our biggest problems is we're too busy hiding behind the leaves and the trees.
Come on.
So my question to you is, what leaves are you hiding behind?
Yes.
Whether it be the little traditions, I'll go down through there so they can see what some of the things that I have on there. Hatred, deception, rape, pornography, drugs, passive mindset. What are you hiding behind?
Come on.
Because what are you hiding behind? You constantly find yourself keeping from Him, keeping yourself from Him, that when He calls your name. All you gotta do is say where Adam did in the beginning. Here I am, Lord. But we constantly hide. We take things for granted that we have time. I have time. I'll just go here. I'll go here and do this because ain't nobody gonna see me. So I'll go here and I'll just do this for a little bit and then I'll come back. And you know, it was just as simple not to do it in the beginning. Now, God is calling us. He has called us to covenant.
Come on.
He's here. He's calling you to deeper prayer life, deeper fasting. Now, I almost say prayer life, and I won't say intercession, because prayer, you can pray, but intercession is a little different. He's calling you to deeper intercession. But one thing that stood out to me in all of this is that some of us call ourselves Christians. We are the sons and daughters of God. And we walk around here naked, half dressed, not even ready for the battle that is before you, because you too busy still hiding behind the leaves that bring the day-to-day being that you could overcome if you would just step up and do as God tells you to do. Obey from the beginning. Now we're going to jump on over to Matthew chapter 26. Now, verse 14. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and he said unto them, What will ye give me when I deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. There's that word again, covenant. You're going to take what God's already given to you and covet with the enemy to try to hide. But he's gonna find you out every single time. But in this part of these, Judas was the trickster. You done went and with the chiefs and the Pharisees and whoever you talk to, and you done set it up, but then on down in the text, you gonna go before him and you got the nerve to ask, Master, is it I?
You already.
When you already know you done it. And then the bad thing about it was in that time, wasn't a whole lot of money. These days, it's probably what, $20, $25? You gonna sell your anointing for $20 to $25. You're gonna, no, you're not selling it. You're gonna give it away for $25, $20 to $25.
Wow.
You're gonna give your anointing away. And to God, that's a slap in the face. That's like saying, oh, this is yesterday's trash, just take it away. When he's called you to so much more.
Oh, wow.
When he has set up for you so much more, but you gave it away. I'm not even gonna say, you gave it away for $20.
$20. $20.
And then you're gonna be bad enough to step up in his presence.
Come on now.
Was it I?
Glory, hallelujah.
It was you the whole time. It wasn't him, it was you the whole entire time. And you knew it. Is it I? You want to do these things, and you want your eyes to experience these things. You want to hear things you know you don't have no business hearing, but at the same time, you want to step up in his presence. Is it I?
Rejoice.
Jesus had told him to, okay, go set everything up. Judas was doing what he was doing, and Jesus was telling the rest of the disciples to go find a man and tell him that my time is at hand, because I'm coming.
Wow.
And because I got to work that even though he was born into this thing, and he was doing it from the time he was born, we're just getting to right here to the meat and the deep part of it. So now he's here, and he told him, go stand up, because now it's time for me to be about my Father's business. I got to get it done. And so they were at the table, and they were eating, and he was trying to put Judas on blast, because he told what was going to happen, who was going to betray who, and everybody. And then he said, the man who dips his hand in, and I dip it in, he's the one. He was putting Judas on blast.
Yeah.
And I think Judas knew, can I put my hand in that cup or not? You ain't got no choice, because you already done what you did. Well, one part about this that I loved, and it starts at verse 26. And believe it or not, I'm almost done. Because I'm not going to sit here and make up things to say to you and do, because that would just be wrong to me, and I would be doing a disservice to you. So I'm going to say what God said, and I'm going to set my butt down and let it be done. But verse 26 says, and as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it, and brake it, and gave it to the disciples, and said, take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it. Now, this is where the two go together. In the same manner that the enemy stole it, he used it on him and took it back. Take and eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
He used his own trickery against him.
Yes.
And when we are walking in the things that we should be walking in, everything that he tries to use against us, we can turn it back on him and use it against him, because your daddy done set it up.
Amen.
So you walking around here and you're going through things, and some of these things you're going through and you allow it. Some of this stuff is just put in front of you, but at the same time, he's already set it up so you can deal with it, but you won't take it and eat it. You won't take it and eat it.
Oh my God.
And it's right there with you. He gave it to you every day to take it and eat it. But when he got to talking about that part, I said, God, you know what? You the man. You the man, because you got it. He thought he was doing something. He thought he was doing something in the garden, because first of all, he tricked the trickster, and then he tricked Adam. He didn't trick Adam. He tricked Eve. And then you come over here, and the trickster thought he was doing something because he wanted the money, but didn't realize God already had your number, and you just doomed. You just leave it alone. Just go, just move on. But I said, God, you done some things that were so. It was, mind you, before he even got to the cross, because if all this hadn't taken place, he wouldn't have made it. But all of it was set up so intricate and so detailed that it was. And one thing that came to my mind when I got to this part, y'all ever watch Shaft? He was a bad mother. Shut your mouth. I said, it was good because it was just set up. He just set it up so well. And here we are, us, sons and daughters of the Most High. And he has set it up so well. And so many times we make it so hard, we can't even follow instructions. Simple instructions that he has set before us. And we will still let the enemy chew us up and spit us out every single time. And we, Lord, what am I going to do? Where do I go from here? How do I get through this? And in this life, I can say I've been through some things, and I've been experiencing things, some good and some bad. But now that God has brought me through it, I don't have a problem sharing it the good and the bad, especially when I know it's going to help somebody else. See, when I was a little girl, I went through a situation, and there was a man, and he took something from me that wasn't his to take, but because he allowed himself to be used by the enemy, he took it. Mind you, the Bible plainly tells us, suffer the little children and forbid them not.
Yeah.
So even though I went through what we went through, he already had it set up. I might have been messed up then, but I was going to be here to say what thus says the Lord.
Come on.
Amen.
Yeah.
And in that process, I went through it, and I was going through it, and mind you, done grew up, done become a woman, and in the process, as I was growing up, I would see the man, and every time I would see him, something in me would draw back, and it would cause me to ease back, and I would move back a little bit. And then the next thing you know, you get to a place, and you're moving with God, and you're moving forward, and you're moving forward. And one day I don't remember what I was doing, but I had found out that this man had died. And I said, what? And the person that was telling me said, you didn't know he died? I said, no. I said, I don't be, because I'm the type person, I've always been a loner. And don't get me wrong, even now, I don't have a lot of friends. I'm careful about who I allow in my life, because you can't let people come into your life for seasons. God will put them there, and then when it's time for them to go, you let them go on.
Right.
But you just don't have people in your life just to have them in your life, because everybody there is not always for you. So this man had died, and I heard what he had died of, and I was like, I started sinking, and I said, what? And they said, yeah, girl. And at the time, this was pure gossip. And the person that told me didn't even know what had went on in my life. Said, yeah, girl. Said, the family had to pay extra money just so they could get rid of his blood because he was HIV positive. So, and I was going, you see yourself going back, and I was like, what? But in that instant, just that quick, the Father spoke to me and said, you ain't got it. No. But me being in the flesh, in the sinful nature, I wasn't listening. I didn't listen. And I kept sinking back. And I kept moving backwards, but it was enough that the enemy used it against me, not because he could, because I allowed it. And me not listening in the beginning took me into a depression that lasted 2 years of my life that wasn't even necessary.
Amen.
Because I walked around and nobody knew. Because every day I got up, I could function with no problem. I got up and I went to work. Even one day when I was at work, my head was hurting so bad. Have your head hurt just so bad you felt like if you just took something and just cracked it a little bit and let the stuff ooze out, you'd be all right? I mean, I let him mess me up that bad, and it wasn't even necessary. And you walk around here and you got the answer, And then what makes it so bad is one day I was studying, and in my study time, the Lord said, have you ever thought of me being sexually abused? I said, no. And so he said to me, go to the Word.
Come on, you're going there, go there.
And there it was. What makes it so bad is it was way back in Psalms, they cast lots for his clothes. And then you go on over here in the New Testament, and it plainly tells you that they cast lots for his clothes. Because they were so mad when he was walking and going and doing what he was doing. He was about his father's business, so he had on his priestly robes. And they were valuable because God's not going to let his children walk around in any old thing. So they cast lots. I could just see them there casting out, buddy. I'm going to get this because that robe, that's not $1,000, buddy. I'm going to get this. And there he was, naked. Did they ask him, okay, King of Kings, you mind if we take your clothes off? They didn't ask. They took it. He didn't ask me. He didn't ask me for my gift. He took it. So when God said that he had a remedy in this, for everything that you're going to have to face, did you look? The old people told us a long time ago, Jesus is my doctor, and he writes out all of my scriptures, and he'll give me all my medicine in the room.
Oh.
So, prescription. So, my prescription made it easy for me to stand here and tell you, yeah, it happened. But I'm here. I'm in the room because I finally figured it out, and I used the prescription that he set before me. See, because he told you in Psalms 23 that he'll prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. And so now, I like it because I'm at the part to where my cup's running over. And surely goodness and mercy is going to follow me for the rest of my life, because I'm going to dwell in the house of the Lord for the rest of my life until he says, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Come on in the room. But still, yeah, you sat here and you come and he puts it in front of you and you wallow in it. Even right now, some of you sitting in here and you wallowing in it. When he told you to come in the room and lay it at his feet. But every time he tell you to lay it down, you got to be Dennis the Menace. And you know Dennis the Menace was messy. You got to go right back and pick it up, because you so happy walking around in your nonsense when you call yourself a child of the King of Kings and Most High till
That's beautiful.
So I'm sitting here and I'm saying, I thank him, y'all. Every day I am thankful that he loved me enough to set it up, to walk it out, and see it through. He prepared a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He prepared that same table for you. And all you have to do is walk in it. I thank you for listening, because I'm done. Because I told you it wasn't going to take me long.